Hi everyone, welcome to our channel Best Recapped channel. Today we want to speak about one Israel movie. Feel free and watch this movie. The story of the movie is about the family of an Israeli soldier. The daughter of the family makes a mistake in the movie. For this reason she wants to punish herself, and for this she does actions that we will see. The story is about a girl named Ariella who went out of town with a group of other girls and boys to hold a private festival. Ariella decides to return home as we approach midnight. Her friends try to stop her from leaving, but Ariella refuses. Then Ariella entered the road alone to get a car to go home. Meanwhile, Ariella's worried parents are calling her, but Ariella's phone is on voicemail. Giora, Ariella's father, is very worried and anxious and is waiting outside the house for her return. At this moment, Ariella arrives and her father sees her. Ariella, who is wearing shorts, wears the long pants that she had put on before entering the house. Giora asks Ariella who brought her home. Ariella lies and says that she is his friend's mother. Giora repeats his question and asks Ariella not to hide anything, but Ariella repeats the same answer. Giora then asks Ariella to take off her pants. Ariella does so, but there is nothing. Giora asks Nava, Ariella's mother, to go to the power box and bring what she finds. But Nava puts the pants in the car and claims that she didn't find anything. But Giora, who saw the truth, tells Ariella that he will punish Ariella for what she did. Nava tries to dissuade Giora, but Giora tears Ariella's clothes with scissors. Giora shows a letter to Ariella and explains that the letter represents the suffering of people who suffered because of a mistake. Then he takes her to the street to stay on the street until 6 in the morning and be punished. Ariella decides to draw on the floor with chalk to entertain herself. Ariella returns to her room in the morning, but Giora tells her that she came a minute earlier. So as a punishment, he gives Ariella 1 minute to make her bed. Ariella is surprised, but Giora explains that 1 minute is an important time and can change a person's life. Ariella fails, so Giora asks her to try again. At this moment, the sound of the car's horn makes Giora leave the room for a moment. Ariella immediately breaks a piece of glass and injures her hand. Giora returns to the room and after seeing Ariella's injured hand, asks her to treat her hand with Nava. In the evening of the same day, Ariella goes to have fun with Nava and her younger sister Roit. On the way there is a protected area that Nava refuses to enter because Giora asked her to. Ariella asks Nava to let her drive, because she wants to practice, and Nava does not allow her to do this because of her young age. But in the end Nava agrees to let her drive on the way back. They spend time together. Then, on the way back, Ariella starts driving according to the agreement. In the middle of the road, where some big stones block the road, Ariella asks Nava to get off to guide her to cross the road. But Ariella makes a mistake when braking and hits Nava. After hitting the car, Nava's head hits a big rock. Ariella and Roit put the unconscious Nava in the car and drive to the hospital. Giora arrives with several of his colleagues. Giora's colleague tells Ariella that Nava is in a coma. Ariella and Roit return home and their grandmother takes over the responsibility of taking care of them. But Ariella gets into an argument with her for forcing her to have boundaries. The next day Giora and Ariella are talking in the hospital parking lot. Giora tells Ariella that he knows she convinced her mother to drive. And he knows that Ariella is waiting to know her punishment. But he does not intend to punish Ariella herself because she cannot find a suitable punishment. Ariella says she will find the punishment herself. Giora returns home to bring clothes and food for Ariella. Ariella goes to the bathroom and a thought hits her there. She shortens her pants with a medal and goes to the road. Then she gets into a car with 4 boys in it. The boys have devised a game where whoever loses has to take off a piece of their clothes. Ariella deliberately loses and takes off her clothes. One of the boys starts touching Ariella's body, but Ariella starts vomiting. The boys take Ariella out of the car. Roit calls Ariella. Ariella asks her not to worry and not to tell Giora that they talk to each other. Ariella gets into another car. And she goes to the protected area that Giora told Nava that they should not enter there. Ariella's foot gets caught in a trap. She is trying to free her leg when a young boy comes to help her. Ariella tears off the shoe so she can go with him. A young boy named Ben goes to get glue to fix Ariella's shoes. Ariella asks Ben to give her a place to live for a few days. Ben replies that this is a place of work, not a hotel. Ariella says that she also works. Ben replies that the work there is hard and few people can tolerate it. Ariella takes a challenge to prove that she can endure hard work. Ben agrees. Ben teaches Ariella to work. Ariella finds out that Ben works for the army and asks him what he does in peacetime. Ben jokingly replies that she shouldn't worry, that there are people who have died here from disease or car accidents. Ariella feels bad from this answer, so it goes out of the greenhouse. Ben leaves to deliver something to his grandfather. Ariella goes to the morgue at this moment when Ben's colleague is working. Then she explains that she needs help. The man asks why he doesn't ask Ben for help. Ariella says Ben can't help her. Then she takes off her clothes. The man tries not to do anything wrong because Ben trusts him. Ariella asks the man to touch her. The man does not believe that Ariella wants such a thing and tries to refuse it, but Ariella manages to tempt him. The man is tormented by conscience, then he asks Ariella to stay there until he leaves and leaves after a few minutes. Ariella closes the door from the inside with a rubber band and sits alone in the cold room. Ben arrives and convinces Ariella to open the door. Ben explains to Ariella that this work and suffering in the cold will not help her and she should leave. Ariella disagrees, so Ben takes off his clothes and says he wants to freeze in the cold like Ariella. After this incident, Ariella agrees to leave the morgue with Ben. Ben takes Ariella to his house to rest and get better. A few hours later, Ariella wakes up. Ariella asks Ben about his life. Ben replies that his father was killed in the war. Ben then tests his father's old tape recorder for Ariella. He praises Ariella's beauty while recording his own voice. Ariella is impressed by Ben. They kiss each other. Ben explains about his father's death, that the main reason was the commander's mistake. But the army has promoted the commander so that his credibility is not questioned. Ariella asks if he met the commander. Ben says no and doesn't think he's even sorry, because he has not answered Ben's letters for years. Ariella remembers the letters received by her father and realizes that the commander, Giora, was her father. Ariella doesn't say anything to Ben and says she wants to rest. Giora sees the moment in his dream that he wants to go to Ben's house with his colleague to apologize and explain about the death of Ben's father. Her colleague tells him that it's useless and Giora did nothing wrong because he was only a minute late. At this moment we see Ariella, instead of Giora's colleague, recalling Giora's quote about the importance of a minute. She tells him that a commander must be sensitive to every single minute. Giora wakes up. He gets very anxious and angry. Giora calls Ariella several times, but Giora's phone is in voicemail mode. Giora begs Ariella to return home. Ariella wakes up and secretly reads the things posted on the wall about her father's death in Ben's house. She secretly leaves Ben's house early in the morning and returns to the road. Giora and Roit are in the hospital room. Giora notices that Roit is sending a message on the phone. Giora asks Roit who she is talking to and if she talked to Ariella or not. Roit admits that she talked to Ariella and Ariella said she won't come home until Nava regains consciousness. After turning on Ariella's phone, Giora follows her with the help of GPS. At the same time, Ariella rides a strange man's car on the road. The stranger takes Ariella to the middle of an abandoned farm. At the same time, Giora reached the GPS location, which is in front of the entrance to the protected area. Roit asks Giora to enter the area, but Giora refuses. Ariella asks the man to go to the back of the car to do the job. Then she decides to turn on the phone and call his father to hear their voices. After hearing the strange man's praise of Ariella, Giora thinks that she is in the forbidden zone, so he enters the zone. The stranger gives Ariella some alcohol because he wants to treat her well. Ariella lies down. Ariella tells the stranger that she has never done this before. The man says it's better, it hurts a little at first, but it will feel good after. The man slowly starts kissing Ariella. Giora gets angry and hangs up. Then he takes the speaker in his hand and starts calling Ariella to find her. The stranger is slowly advancing and at the last moment notices the voice of the speaker. Giora moves quickly towards their car. Ariella gets out of the car and the stranger runs away. Giora apologizes to Ariella. Ariella says that she is to blame for what happened to Naba and she has to live with it. Giora replies that she can't run away from it all her life and seek punishment for herself, because the same thing that happened to him will happen to Ariella. They hug each other and return to the hospital. Ariella returns to the hospital and shakes her mother's hands. Giora goes to Ben's house to explain the story to him. And here the story ends. If enjoyed, please like video and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to leave a comment about what you want to watch. See you soon in another video.